Hey friends, and welcome back to another preparing for autumn video. We're going to be doing a little bit of meal prep because all my San Marzanos are basically ready now. So I'm making the outrageously good marinara sauce from the Rainbow Plant Life Big Vegan Flavor Book. That's one of my favorite red sauces, so I'm kind of prepping it ahead. Halfway through this month we want to make the lasagna that's also in her cookbook. We have some of the Beyond Meat sausages in the freezer, and I've just been waiting for a good opportunity for the weather to get a bit cooler to make that lasagna. So I'm prepping this sauce ahead and I'm making a double batch so we can use half of it for that lasagna and then half of it can also just be in the freezer for something new, something else. I've also harvested a lot of the bigger jalapenos from the plant, so I'm going to be pickling those today. It's one of my favorite things to do in the autumn. Pickling things last for, at least a few months if you put them in the fridge. If you're into canning, obviously that can last a whole year. I'm still a bit nervous about canning, so I haven't been doing, I've been dipping my toes, but definitely not ready to do anything proper or give advice on it. I also want to go over my knitting plans, what I'm working on currently for the kind of autumn winter knits, and also what I'm planning on making people for Christmas. I have a lot of plans that I want to kind of get started with early on because I need a lot of time to get their Christmas presents ready. We have almost 3 months until Christmas, or just under 3 months till Christmas, so I'm really setting myself quite the short time frame to get all of these things done, but I'm very excited about some of the patterns that I've been thinking of making for my family, and I'm going home for Christmas this year, so I'm very excited to show them all their knits. I also have a video essay coming up about the Project Pan trend, and I'm going to work on that a little bit today as well because I'm really enjoying these regular uploads. I hope you are too, and as always I'm always looking for video ideas, so if you have any requests please leave them in the comments below. I'm going to get this red sauce done. I'm also doing Project Pantry still, and I have all the ingredients to make the roasting pan ragu that I make quite a lot. That's going to be something I meal prep and put in the freezer, so I'm very excited to get started with that. I was really surprised by how many San Marzanos I got this year. Last year I tried to grow some, and the year before, and honestly I think I got maybe 2 really tiny ones that got blossom rot. So I was very surprised I got enough that I was able to make this tomato sauce, and honestly since they have been growing and I've been waiting for them to ripe, I've just been getting more and more excited to make this marinara sauce. I'm not the biggest fan of marinara because usually I think it doesn't taste very much, to be honest. I think it's quite bland, but this one is really good because it uses so many fresh herbs and it acts as a base for a lot of really great recipes. Sometimes if I want a treat I will add some Impossible mince to it and I'll make a spaghetti bolognese, or I'll add it to the recipe that she uses for her lasagna in her cookbook. Or if I'm just feeling lazy and I want an easy meal, I'll just have some pasta with some tomato sauce. I haven't tried it yet, but I think it could also be a good base for homemade baked beans. I've made these quite a lot in the past, and some of the only things that they have in it that this doesn't is some apple cider vinegar, but I did put in some red wine vinegar at the end, so you never know, it could actually be a really perfect substitute. And it also just something that's easy and it's something I already have in the oven. Now I know I've made this roasting pan ragu a lot of times and you might be bored of seeing it, but it's a kind of the reality of buying a lot of ingredients for one specific thing and then having them left over. For me it just feels a lot more, I don't know, relatable, the fact that I'm just going to make the same meals over and over again because I don't want the ingredients to go to waste. I have been looking at a few bulk shops in Denver, but they're really expensive, and that's the only reason why I've only got a few items from bulk, so I haven't been able to get the exact measurements of things that I need. But having said that, I love this recipe and I truly just don't get bored of it. It's something that's so easy to meal prep and can go in the freezer or the fridge. It can be something that's made in double batches or single batches. I think going through the whole process of doing this Project Pantry has made me realize that I do go through the same recipes a lot, and I think it's because I'm excited to try new recipes, and then when I find ones I'm just so obsessed with them, especially if they're easy and convenient to make. And then when I get to know a recipe really well, it feels just so much easier to rely on something I already know rather than having to go and think of a new recipe or find a new recipe and learn all the steps. And sometimes when you're tired, you just can't be bothered to be excited and creative with food. So in these times, I just rely on the things I already know and really go back to the basics or the things that I've made so many times that I don't even really need to look at the recipe as much. So all this to say, I'm glad that I was able to make this again with basically everything that I already had in the cupboards. The same goes for this carrot cake baked oats. I already had all these ingredients in the fridge and in the cupboards, and I think I bought some of them for this specifically, but it's also a good recipe to use up some of the ingredients that I have been working through, like flax meal, raisins, and some of the nuts that I turned into a plant milk as well. This is a really great prep ahead recipe, and I think that it's just perfect for autumn. I changed the way I do food prep just a little bit, just to make sure that no food is ever going to waste and I'm not making too much food, because I sometimes do have the tendency to kind of overdo it, especially if I'm making a video, so that the video is more, I don't know, interesting to watch or something like that. So today was just a small meal prep of those 4 things. I'm really excited to make some burrito bowls and be able to have those jalapenos on them. I find that the ones that I grow in the garden are actually a little bit spicier, which I find to be very interesting. But anyway, when the ragu cools down, I'll put that into a reusable container, and then I'll keep some for dinner tonight, and then I'll put the rest in the freezer. I'm gonna make a little coffee now and then get on with some video essay research. So I want to actually pop back and talk to you a little bit about skincare in the autumn, because it definitely has to change for me. I've been on a real skincare journey these last 6 months, and just the care I take for it is a little bit different in the autumn and winter, because it is so dry here. One thing that always suffers in the autumn is my skin. Especially living in a dry climate, I have to be very careful about making sure that it's hydrated and drinking enough water, making sure I'm using enough moisturizer. So my autumn skincare routine looks a little bit like this. I wash my face with a gentle cleanser. I mostly use it in the evenings to wash off the SPF in the day, and then about 3 to 5 days a week I use my FAQ 202 by FOREO, a face mask that has 8 different wavelengths including NIR, and is designed to tackle an array of skin concerns. I've been using my mask regularly for about 2 months now, and in that time I've gotten more compliments on my skin than I ever have before. My skin tone has also looked more even, and the signs of sun damage I've had lingering around have started to reduce. There are loads more benefits to this mask, like reduced redness, smoother, more radiant skin, and reduced fine lines and wrinkles. While I've been reworking my routines, the most convenient time I found to use my mask is in the evenings when I'm knitting, watching some TV, or if I'm doing a little bit of tidying around the kitchen or the house, or honestly, just before I'm getting ready for bed. Once my treatment is finished, which they have a very handy app for, I simply give the mask a wash and then apply a heavier moisturizer to my face. My skincare routine is very simple, but it's the consistency that has made such a big difference. Just trying to build it into my routine every evening has just made it easier to kind of reduce friction and do the things I say I'm gonna do. And I can definitely tell that it has made the biggest difference being consistent with these few things over the past couple of months, more so than I think over the past couple of years. If you'd like to check out the FAQ 202 by FOREO and other FOREO bestsellers, you can click the link in my description box below, and don't forget that you can get 30% off with Immy 30, and you can get this 30% off almost all FOREO products. This code also applies to already discounted items, so you'll receive an extra 30% off. Okay, check out the link in the description below. One thing I'm adding onto my prep for autumn and winter is a kind of survival guide to help me with the potential of seasonal depression. In February of this year, my mental health took a massive nosedive, and since then I've learned a few things about how to keep my health stable, ways to feel cozy and joyful, and lots of hobbies to keep me occupied and my brain engaged. Part of my survival guide is my personal curriculum. I talked about this in a video on its own, but I basically decided to carve out a lot of my free time into different chunks of learning French, learning the guitar, lots of different kind of reading in terms of history, and just trying to keep my brain occupied and constantly feeling like I'm learning. Because when I'm learning, I definitely feel happiest. I've also been taking drawing classes, and this is something I'm still doing. And I'm actually doing a 30-day challenge where I'm trying to draw every single day for 30 days to see how it improves, how my coloring improves, my, realism improves, but also just how much I enjoy it as well. This is something I feel like I can get quite lost in, which is nice, is that sense of flow that you get when you're really consumed by something and you kind of forget about the time and if you're hungry or thirsty, all those kind of things, because you're so invested in the kind of thing that you're doing. And for me, drawing is one of those things where I'm honestly surprised when an hour or 2 hours kind of tick by. And I'm trying to separate my evenings out into different things. So a lot of the time recently I've been knitting in the evenings because I've been trying to get through a few of my own projects before moving on to my kind of Christmas projects that I want to make for people. And I also tried to find 10 minutes here or there just to practice guitar. It doesn't have to be very much, but it's the consistency that I've definitely seen quite a big improvement on. I would definitely be interested to know if a survival guide kind of for this winter and autumn is something that you would be interested in or doing for yourself, and whether you have found anything that's genuinely helped your seasonal depression too. In my previous preparing for autumn videos, I don't think I've ever covered something like this, and I think that it's actually really important. Obviously in Colorado I'm lucky because it's quite blue sky skies and sunny throughout the winter, but it's also incredibly cold. And that just means I don't get out as much or get outside and do the things that really make me feel good. So I'm really going to be leaning heavily into kind of cozy vibes, drinking lots of tea, making hearty meals, and really getting into my hobbies. As many of you might know, knitting is one of my biggest hobbies. I learned to knit 2 years ago, and it has been a real journey and real process over the past few years, and I think I finally got to a stage where I can genuinely make really nice, high quality, well done garments as presents for other people. My husband has definitely been there for the experimental phases where I have tried to make things, and I've definitely made one jumper that's very good for him that he wears every winter now, but I feel like I finally got to a stage where I can make better ones. So for my sister-in-law, I'm actually going to make her the porcelain sweater because I wear this all the time, especially because it's a cotton, then it's a lighter layer, but it's also quite heavy at the same time, so it's a really perfect shoulder season. But I've seen her wear a Christmas jumper that has a kind of Fair Isle motif and it's like a blue, so I know that she wears dark blue and a cream color, so I'm gonna make her one of these. I also already have the pattern because I've made it once, and because I've made it once I kind of know what I'm supposed to do, so the process will be a lot quicker. My mum was very jealous of the Siri cardigan that I knit. It's one of my favorite things. It has cables, it has moss stitch, it's raglan, I love it, like I love it so much. And my mum really wants one, but she wants a kind of dark green. So I'm going to find some nice dark green yarn and I'm gonna make this for her. Again, it's a pattern I've already made, so I know what to do. I won't make any mistakes this time and it'll be a lot quicker. And I already have the pattern, which is a bonus. So I'm gonna be making the Siri cardigan for her. I am currently making my sister's one. I actually said I'd make her a jumper for her birthday and it's been a long process. I'm making her the terracotta sweater. This is actually the back, and I've done the back panel and I'm working on the front panel now where I've joined the shoulders. I really like this pattern. I think it's so pretty. Hopefully I'll get it done in time because it's taking me a really long time when things are on small needles and they're color work like this. Yeah, it's a slow process. Okay, a couple of things that I'm working on for me. Although I was thinking of gifting this, but now I'm not sure I trust the person that I want to give this to. So this is the first thing I'm working on. It is the Dagmar sweater by Petite Knit. As far as cables go, I think this is a very easy, straightforward kind of cable knit jumper, and I think that it's a great beginner one if you're thinking of one. I am thinking of gifting this because I actually quite want to make the FOREO jumper, which looks very similar, but it just has some really interesting cables on the arm, which I think just look a bit nicer, and I kind of like the fit of that one more. I just love the way that these cables are turning out. So that's one thing that I'm currently working on. I'm also still working on the T number 1, which is this. I'm halfway done with this one sleeve and then I just have the other sleeve, and that's literally it. I don't really like the bottom of this, so I'm thinking of doing a 2x2 rib instead. I don't know why. I'm finding it hard to finish that one, but it's just, it is hard. And I'm also working on the camisole number 5 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. These two are supposed to be summer knits and they're just taking me ages. 2x2 rib takes honestly forever. I think I'm gonna really like this when it's done. It's just taking such a long time. I also want to make my brother like a full Fair Isle jumper, but we'll see if I get round to that. And then I also wanted to make my dad like a navy blue quarter zip jumper. I have big plans and it's already October. I don't know what I was thinking waiting this long to do it. You never know. I might be able to do it. Might be. There's also one that I really would like to make for my husband, but that might have to wait till his birthday in January. But you can tell I'm very excited to make handmade gifts this year and I have a lot of plans, and honestly I'm trying to be ambitious because I know that knitting in the evenings and, you know, some weekends where the weather's not very good and I don't want to go outside, like that is the perfect hobby and activity for me personally to stay in a good mental health kind of mindset. And also it just brings me a lot of joy. I get a lot of satisfaction when I'm able to make something that either I can wear or I can give to someone else, because it's just really cool. I think we still probably have another month before the garden really just dies, maybe even before, like when the first frost or snow comes, and that might be another 6 weeks, because it could even be longer, I'm not sure. But the tomatillos definitely aren't ready to harvest yet, so I don't need to prepare the garden for kind of autumn or winter yet. We're still getting lots of small tomatoes off all the plants, and the chilies are all ripening now, so I think maybe in the next one that will be. But I just have so many fun plans for all my hobbies. Got lots of climbing coming up. Climbing is also one really good thing to help me through the winter because it is a winter sport, and being outside during the winter, even if I'm wrapped up, will be really nice and really cozy. But yeah, I would love to know what you're doing to prepare for autumn. Oh, the sun is going in and out. I would love to know what you're doing to prepare for autumn or winter and what hobbies you're working on. So please let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you very soon. Okay, bye.